What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Carrie. If you're new here, I do lifestyle, beauty, fashion videos, and whatever else I feel like doing at the time. So please make sure you hit that red subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything when I upload. If you ain't new, welcome back. Well, let's go ahead and get it popping. I have been talking about my PCOS and my pregnancy journey for maybe a little bit over a year now. And, you know, I just kind of jumped into it and I was like, hey guys, I'm trying to get pregnant and I have PCOS. I've never really discussed the symptoms or the things that I go through having PCOS. And I just recently asked you guys in my community tab, I did a poll and asked you guys which video you wanted to see first. The life update, which also includes my PCOS pregnancy journey, or my perfume collection, because your girl got smells. And you guys definitely voted more for the life update, which also includes my PCOS journey, right? However, it makes more sense, especially for people who are just hopping on board or new to my channel. If you're new, hey, how you doing? Comment down below, let me know you do. To kind of give you guys some back history on what I've been going through since I've been dealing with PCOS. So I was like, I'm going to do the update video right now as soon as I'm finished with this video, but I didn't want to make the video too long by including my kind of history and what I go through, my symptoms and all of that stuff. So I split it into two. So this video is first, and if you guys want to get my update video, it's an update video, but majority of it includes my PCOS pregnancy journey. So definitely check that video out once you're done with this one. First of all, I've had PCOS since forever. I think I was first diagnosed with it when I was a teenager, maybe even a preteen. Was I like 12? I'm not sure. It was between the ages of like 12 to 14. I feel like I was maybe my last year in junior high school, first freshman in high school. I remember one day I had like really, it wasn't even one day. It was like through a period of time. Like I just started getting like these really painful cramps in my stomach, and it was like the sharp kinds. It wasn't the dull ones. And any moment it would just start flaring up. I could be, you know, as a teenager, I was out with friends a lot. There would be moments where I would just be outside chilling with my homegirls, and then I just got the sharp pain. I felt it a lot under my ribs. That was how I described it, like under my ribs. I had no idea what it was, but it started getting to a point where it's like, hold on, I have to sit down. I can't walk. There would be times where I would be cramped up in the bed in fetal position. There were times it felt like I had to use the bathroom, like doing number 2, have a bowel movement, but nothing would happen. Or if I tried pushing, it would just cramp me up in that back area as well. Like it was super bad. So eventually my mom took me to the hospital, and at first they were like, oh, maybe it's your period or something like that, because a lot of the times it was associated with bleeding, so it kind of looked like a menstrual period. But also, what I forgot to mention is it was like super heavy bleeding, which they call hemorrhaging. So that's why it really became a concern to my mom, because it was like hemorrhaging, really bad cramps. It wasn't seeming like a normal period, and it just kind of happened out of nowhere. So like I said, we went to the hospital. At first, they weren't even going to take it to the step of doing like any type of ultrasounds or anything. They just associated with my menstrual cramps. But I think we ended up going another time. I think it was like twice. But eventually they did the ultrasound, and that's when we discovered the cyst on my ovaries. And I was diagnosed at that time. Like I said, I was between 12 and 14 with Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So from there, I've had it ever since. Okay. What I've done, well, what my doctor recommended at that specific time for me to kind of tame the polycystic ovarian syndrome and to kind of control my hormones. So let's take it back a little bit. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is basically a condition that a lot of women have, especially in our generation. So I don't know, some we eat and drinking something, you know what I'm saying? Because honestly, I haven't heard much about polycystic ovarian syndrome with people older, like my mom's age and up. It seems like that generation was more so having fibroids and stuff like that, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways, it's more common than I thought. The hormone levels are not on the levels that it should be once a woman or young girl hits puberty, you know, your hormone levels are supposed to be at a certain level, each one, okay? So basically you have wacky hormones, which causes your ovaries to build up with these cysts. Now, let's not get it confused. I'm not a doctor of any sort. I'm just going based off my experience. But even women who do not have polycystic ovarian syndrome can sometimes have a cyst or two. But with polycystic ovarian syndrome, you have a lot of cysts that build up on your ovaries. And in my case, at that time, it was a lot of cysts, okay? And I think once they will burst, some of the pain will be relieved, but it was a lot of cysts. So now we can kind of fast forward a little bit. From that time all the way up until adulthood, I've always had polycystic ovarian syndrome. Once in a while I would get the pains. It kind of slowed down the older I got. However, I was still getting cysts because throughout the years of just going to the doctor's appointments and stuff, there would be cysts on my ovaries, and sometimes it would be more than others. And it would be occasions where they say, oh, it looks like you don't have any right now, but I can see that they just burst. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what I've been going through. Now, when I take it back to when I was younger, what I did to maintain and try to regulate my hormones to kind of get my hormone levels on a balance where I can get my periods regularly, not get the cysts, where my, everything was kind of balanced, is I was on birth control. So my doctor put me on both birth control pills. So it kind of controls your cycle. So you know how that works. You take your pills for 3 weeks. You don't get a period. You take it for 1 week, you get a period, and it basically controls how your menstrual cycles work. When you're on the birth control pills, it will level out your hormones. However, eventually I weaned off of the birth control pills because number one, it started to make me feel sick. Sometimes I would have like really bad, it felt like my stomach was always sick all the time. I just felt sick. Birth control pills wasn't working for me. And eventually I started gaining weight from it. So I just weaned off of it. I think altogether, maybe I was like 22 or something, where I finally was like, no more birth control. There was times and moments where I would get off for a little bit, get off for a little bit. But I stopped 100% completely at the age of 22. And I've tried all kinds of different kind of birth controls. Well, not all different kinds. I think I did that in a new ring. So as an adult, the way I've been dealing with my PCOS is actually doing nothing at all. So like I said, as a teenager, I was on the birth control, weaned on and off some different types of methods. And then eventually I just stopped taking it, okay? Because I personally just felt like it was just making me so sick. And I was like, I just rather not take it. And so ever since I've been off of birth control, I have been getting the very sporadic periods, okay? So also with polycystic ovarian syndrome, you don't ovulate all of the time, obviously, because you have to get your period often in order for that to happen. Now, when I was a young teenager, when I first got diagnosed and I was having my issues, it was different than how it is now. So I guess it kind of changed a little bit as I grew. When I was younger, I was actually bleeding more often. So it would just be like, I thought I had my period, my really heavy period. It was like super heavy, you guys. So heavy that my mom would be like, you can't go to school today, because it would just bleed through my clothes. I would put like a pad in the front, one in the back. Put a pair of panties on, leggings and jeans. It was just a hot mess. But it would bleed, and then I would have moments throughout that month of more spotting, and then it would stop, and then it would be in more spotting. So it was kind of like that. But I noticed after like the age of 22, once I stopped taking all of birth control, it was less spotting at this point, and it was more so in I was getting my period like maybe 3 times a year. And at that particular time, I wasn't complaining, because I'm like, who wants to get their period? Like, if you're not trying to conceive, we all know that getting your period can be very annoying, and it's kind of freeing when you don't have your period. I didn't have to worry about going to work and worrying about getting my period. I didn't have to worry about anything. Okay. I was just good. I was like, it comes 3 times a year now. And in my adulthood, with it coming 3 times a year, it was nowhere near as dramatic as it was when I was a teenager. At this point, the cramps were kind of feeling like normal period cramps that I had before I was diagnosed. And sometimes it was mild cramps. And also in my adulthood, I've noticed that every once in a while, and I'll say like maybe once a year, if that, I'll get like crazy sharp pains out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, and it will hold me for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like 5 minutes or so, then it's like completely gone. And then I don't feel it again for maybe like a year or so. So I mean, I don't know. You know, the symptoms and the pain has definitely changed, and it's been different since I've gotten older. Also, PCOS can cause you to gain weight. We'll get into that a little bit later, but in my adulthood, I'm obviously way heavier than I was when I was a teenager. I think the heaviest I've been was 196, and I'm 5'4". I'm short, so that's kind of big, okay? And when I was a teenager, on average, I was like 120 to 130, so I was light. So that could also be a reason why I was getting my periods more often during that time, all right? So now we kind of have a little bit of understanding of that. I'm going to take it back just a little bit, okay? So I think when I said I weaned off of the birth control at like 22 or something like that, the last birth control method that I was using was a NuvaRing. And y'all, let me tell you about that NuvaRing. You don't know about that NuvaRing. I don't know if you know about it or not. You probably do. Most women on my channel, we're all adults here, so you probably know something about it. But you insert the NuvaRing into your body. It's not a pill that you take every day. You keep it up in your vagina, and you take it out after that 3-week mark, kind of like when you would start taking the pills to make you get your period, and you would get your period, then you would put a new one in. So that's how the NuvaRing worked. However, I thought I was enjoying the NuvaRing, but that one made me sicker than the pills. So after the NuvaRing, I completely stopped taking all kinds of anything to kind of control my PCOS and kind of regulate my hormones and my cycle and stuff. So that's where that ended. Now, during that time of me stopping the NuvaRing, I ended up pregnant during that time, okay? I didn't even know I was pregnant, y'all. I was like 5 to 6 weeks in, and I just remembered having like these really bad headaches every day, all day. And my breasts were really sore, but I didn't think that I was pregnant because I was like, okay, I got PCOS, so it's going to be a little more difficult. And I've never been pregnant before. I wasn't trying. It wasn't a thought on my mind. And also with PCOS, sometimes you just get these weird symptoms and you don't never know what it is. Okay. It's gotten to a point where I used to go rack up on a bunch of pregnancy tests from Dollar Tree before I would drink liquor sometimes, just to make sure I wasn't pregnant, because there was no way for me to tell. Like, my body just does what it does, okay? So I didn't think I was, but during that time I was, but we miscarried during that time. I did have a story time video up years ago when that first happened. I don't even know if it's on my channel anymore, but that was the first time that I had got pregnant, and that was right after the NuvaRing. I've heard a lot of stories, people taking birth control as soon as they get off and they end up pregnant. Everyone is different. Everyone who has PCOS experiences different things. A lot of things are similar. There are like symptoms that come with it, but not everyone experiences all of them. So the things that I go through, is kind of tolerable, but it is annoying. I can't even lie. Okay. So I get like excessive hair growth, and girl, I get me a mustache. I get me beard hair. When it comes to like my little mustache, it's not like really thick like a man's mustache, but it's like a little peach fuzz, and it's enough to notice. I shave it with a regular razor. I don't use clippers or anything like that. I use me a men's razor, okay? Gillette's is the 3-blade one. You pop it in, pop it out, switch out the blades. I love it, okay? It does wonders, smooth, doesn't cut me up. But that's what I use to cut my mustache or peach fuzz, whatever you want to call it. And I do that maybe on a weekly basis, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, but mainly like every week, because it will start showing back up and showing out. I also get like these little beard hairs, and at first it would just be like one or two, but now as the years are going on, I'm noticing that it's getting a little thicker, like the texture of the hair is a little bit thicker. And I don't shave it because they're so thick. I take tweezers and I just pluck those babies right on out, and I just do that once I start noticing them popping back out or whatever. So I do experience that. Another thing that I do experience with hair is excessive hair growth in certain areas. I don't want it aside from those. And what I'm talking about is like my legs. So when I'll take a shower and I shave my legs, literally the next morning, or depending, if I shave in the morning, by the time the nighttime comes, from the nighttime to the next morning, you will start to feel that hair rising right back up. Like, shaving does nothing for me. I do keep me some razors handy, and I just kind of shave every few days or so. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie to you. In the winter, and I'm not showing my legs, I probably won't shave for 1 to 2 weeks, and then I'll be like, oh girl, look at that hair, just build it up quick and build up quick. But yeah, so my hair definitely grows back fast in areas that I don't want it to after I shave it, so that's really annoying too. I do have like some underbelly hair, you know, stuff like that. Okay. And then another thing with the hair, this part is kind of annoying. I deal with, some people or women have like, balding in certain areas. They call it men pattern, like men pattern balding. And mine's is on my edges in the 2 temple areas. Okay. I noticed it when, I noticed this years and years ago. So before I started wearing wigs, I used to wear weaves like all of the time. Weaves were my go-to. I think everybody wore weaves at one point. If you're a wig lover, you probably did the weaves. You know what I'm saying? But when I was doing the weaves, I would do my own. I would braid. You know, you braid your hair down. You get your little braid pattern. You sew it in. I did sew-ins a lot, and I did it myself. And I know for a fact that I braided my hair kind of tight. And at first, I associated the hair loss from the weaves, and I thought it was from pulling on my edges too hard or too strong when I was doing the braid patterns for the weaves and actually sewing on the weaves. I just thought I was pulling out my own hair. But as the years went on, I eventually stopped wearing weaves. Like, it was a good few years of me not wearing weaves. I think I probably stopped wearing weaves on a consistent basis around like 18. And I just started wearing my real hair, 18, 19, 20. I just was wearing my real hair. But I noticed, especially on this side, it just wasn't growing back no matter what I did. So then I was like, okay, this obviously is not from pulling out any hairs, because it would have grew back already, you know? Because I've known people, I have people in my family, like close family, they be messing up their edges, pulling it, but it grows back, if you get what I'm saying. And I don't feel like I have like just yanked them out to the point that it wouldn't grow back anymore, because I heard of that happening. Because on this side, it wasn't happening yet. And then eventually it started catching up, because I just noticed it. First it was this side, and I was like, okay, we could do it with one side. I'll just, swoop it, kind of cover it around, and eventually this side started dropping as well, and they're like in the same kind of circular pattern. So that is something else that I experienced, is that hair balding just in those areas, thankfully, because it could be in other spots too. But your girl ain't too happy about that though, but what can I do? Another really big thing that I experienced with dealing with this PCOS was adult acne. I can't even call it adult acne. It's hormonal acne, okay? So PCOS can also cause you to have like pimples and stuff like that all of the time. And before I started recording on YouTube, I think I've been doing YouTube for maybe 5 to 7 years. I was dealing with like really bad acne. I'm talking about boop, 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 like one of those pimple face people. I was one of them. My forehead area would have a whole lot of pimples, and all on my sides, I would have a whole lot of pimples. And if I got lucky that I didn't have any pimples, I would always have the little dark spots to go, it's like either you got the pimples or you got the dark spots. Either way, it was always pimples or dark spots from the pimples. pimples, like the acne scars. So I dealt with that for a long time. And whenever I would wean off of the birth controls, they will come back, because the birth controls, once again, controls your hormone levels. It gives you a regular menstrual cycle, so then you don't get the acne. But if you don't take that, or you don't do anything to regulate your hormone levels, then yes, the acne comes right back. Now, that brings me to when I started doing YouTube. I started off doing makeup on my channel, and because I was doing makeup videos on my channel, I just wasn't feeling that comfortable and confident doing makeup videos when my skin wasn't right. I'm just like, girl, how could you be sitting here showing someone how to beat your face when you can't even get your regular face in order? So from me starting YouTube actually kind of got me to a position to say, get your face regimen together. Now, honestly, because I had hormonal acne, I didn't think that there was anything that I can do to control it. I just figured it's hormones, is going to do what it do, okay? So that just put me on a whole journey of kind of finding something that works to kind of keep the acne at bay. And at first, I tried Proactive. Oh my goodness. Proactive cleared me up, but it did something weird to my skin. That's a whole nother story, okay? But I ended up with a regimen on my own, which is still on my channel. So if you guys want to check that out, if you do deal with something like that, I have that video. I will link it down below. It's been on this channel for years and years, and I haven't really done an updated skin routine, like, you know, really like that, because I kind of stick to the same products for the most part. I do dibble and dabble and try different things, which I'm finding does work out, but I'll do a more updated video on what I'm using exactly today. But that video is still there, and it worked, and it helped to clear my face up. So I'm not going to say that I don't get the acne, because I still do. So, you know, every once in a while, if you guys see me making a video, you may see like one pimple here, one here, maybe two here, but it's nothing compared to what it used to be, because my face used to be full of pimples. So I've kind of done something to kind of, they come and they trying to rise up, but my regimen is like, no, not today. You know what I'm saying? So one or two may pop up, but like I said, it's nothing like it used to be. So, okay. So another thing with PCOS in my case is I'm insulin resistant. Your body is not breaking down sugars the way that it's supposed to, or the way it does for anyone else. So certain things that I would eat, which is a big thing for people with PCOS or insulin resistance people, is like carbs and sugars and breads and stuff. Like, instead of our body breaking it down the way it should, it's actually storing it in our body. So that's not good. And actually, some people with insulin resistant or with PCOS are pre-diabetics. I'm not, thankfully, but that can happen. And also, with that being the case, it's also harder for us to lose weight, for some of us to lose weight, and I am one of them. I'm just holding a lot of fat, and all of my fat stores in my stomach area. So a lot of women with PCOS, they may experience a lot of fat being stored in their stomach area. And it kind of gives you like that bloated look. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but like my stomach, or it's like, you know, like we all kind of got a little pudge, if you got a pudge, and mine doesn't do like the fall over. It kind of does like the round, like the pregnant look. It just looks bloated all the time. So that is one thing that I do deal with. Now, when it comes to, losing weight, it is a little bit harder for us too. So there are certain things that we should or should not be eating in order to kind of lose weight, control our hormone levels. And working out is definitely something that we should be doing if we want to kind of, you know, control our hormone levels without medicine or birth control pills. So I deal with that. And like I said, the heaviest that I've got was 196. And you guys have saw it because I've been on my channel and I've done like try on hauls and stuff. And I'm sure that you guys noticed that I was like chubby. It ain't no shame in my game, I know. And I did lose weight, so we will talk about that in the next video. So I'm no longer at 196, but that's the biggest I've gotten. And it's easier to gain weight with PCOS than it is to lose it. So like I said, you do get sporadic periods. Well, I do. This is what I'm experiencing now, is sporadic periods and just them not coming often. It's gotten to a point, and this is no lie, where I can buy a whole pack of pads and it could last me an entire year. Like I literally only had to buy it for 1 year Okay. But things have changed. We will talk about that in the next video. But I know y'all like, what, one time? Yes, it was less frequent. So it was maybe 3 times a year. And also it was only lasting like 3 days, and it was light. So another thing that I've been dealing with is abnormal hormone levels, which you guys already know because I kind of explained that already. But being that, you know, I've been on this kind of journey, I have gotten blood work done to know my levels. So the last time, or the way first video that I first introduced to you guys about me trying to get pregnant, which was like a year and some change ago, my hormone levels were like all over the place. So it needed to be worked on. Some hormones were higher than it needed to be. Some were lower than it needed to be. It was just all over the place. So that is something that you deal with as well. With your hormone levels being kind of out of whack, that also does something to your mood that you can't really control, that most people aren't even aware of. And I had to read up on it one day because I just was like, why am I like this? So, for example, there will be moments where somebody might invite me out. And I'm not just talking about people who just don't want to go out, who just want to chill in the house. Like, I will be invited somewhere, and at that specific moment, I will be excited. And then when a time comes, I just be like, really like, I don't feel like going nowhere. Has nothing to do with them. It's just like my mood and my vibe is just in a, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be lazy and just be in the bed. And I read something where a lot of people with PCOS may experience that. I know I do, but it's like a certain hormone. Basically, when your hormones are not balanced and you have too much of this or too less of that, it can kind of get your mood to always be like this instead of being like that. So basically, the happy hormone or the outgoing jolly hormone was basically just and it was more so of the mopey hormone kind of taking over. So it wasn't something I really can control. It was just really my mood. It was just like, I just don't want to. So that is something too. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Hopefully I was able to kind of give you guys some insight on what I've been experiencing my entire almost life with PCOS, my whole adult life, that's for sure. Some of my teenage years. I don't know if you're new to my channel and you just found my video, maybe this kind of gives you a little like, okay, yeah, I could kind of, because I deal with that too, because, you know, there's a lot of women out here with PCOS and we're just trying to see like, well, what do you go through? You know what I'm saying? Well, what do you do to, you know, and yeah. So that's that. I'm going to wrap this video up and I'm going to just jump straight into part 2. So if you want to get in my life update, it's going to be a little bit about my life. It's not so much about all these different things happening in my life. It's mainly about the PCOS pregnancy journey, but I do have a little bit of other things that are happening in my life as well. If you want to see that video, that would be the next video. I will probably drop these the same day. I'm not really sure. But that is basically how I've been and what I've been dealing with PCOS my entire life. I didn't want to give too much of what's going on at this current moment because that's for the next video. So again, if you want to kind of get an idea of what's going on now, definitely click on the next video. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up and y'all comment down below and let me know, do you go through something similar? Can you relate? Can you not? Let me know. Did you learn something? Comment down below. I love to talk to you ladies. So I'll see you in the comment section. I'm going to wrap this up. Bye.